Whatever I have pasted on the chat, are you guys able to copy those things? Okay, so let's do one thing. I will paste here. Okay, I will provide this link to you guys. Just click on this link. You will land on this page and just copy it. Okay, I have provided the link on the chat. Just click on that link. You will land on this page. Just copy this content. Don't remove, just copy this content. And paste somewhere in your notepad or save it somewhere. I think now you guys are able to copy, right? Okay. So yesterday there was no session, guys. So as of now, we don't have any particular group to inform you guys. That is the reason we are not able to inform if there is any cancellation in the session. So what you guys can do, like you guys can join at 5:30. And if you think that session is not started, just wait for 5 to 10 minutes, maximum wait for 10 minutes. Still, if you find that session is not started, then just leave it. Okay, it means on that day, session will not be conducted. If there is a session, obviously they will start 5 or 10 minutes before only. But after 5:30 also, if you are waiting for 5 to 10 minutes and if you think that session is not started, in that case, you can just leave it and you can understand there is no session. Okay. So as of now, we don't have any specific group for you guys to inform. So once you join your main sessions like React or Angular or any other course in Ashok IT, there will be a proper WhatsApp group and we will be informing in that WhatsApp group in case if there is no session. Okay. Yeah. So in last session, we have discussed about objects, right? Objects in JavaScript. What is object? How to create object? Okay. How to perform CRUD operation on object. Operations like how to read or access content, how to insert new content, how to update existing content. And I have told you guys to find out the way how to delete content or a property from the object. So are you guys able to find out how to delete a specific property from the object? Now, let's suppose I have an object here where something like obj, open the curly brace, close the curly brace. This is how we create the object. Inside this object, we can add properties. Let's assume I am adding the properties here, something called name, whose value will be some name, maybe something like Aditi. And here I'm just adding city. City can be something like Mumbai. I can have one more property, something like gender, which can be female. Okay. So let's suppose I have like these 3 properties. Now my requirement is I want to delete a specific property from the object. I want to delete a specific property from the object. Maybe I want to delete CT property. CT property I want to delete, or I want to remove the CT property. So anybody found the way how can we remove the property from the object? I got pretty good answers. Yes. Nice. So almost a lot of people gave the answer. Okay. So here let me just add one file, remove property.js. Let me just create one object. here name, something like Aditi, here city, maybe something like Mumbai, and here let me just add gender. Okay, now let me just do console.log, here obj. If I do console.log obj and if I try to execute it, node obj, click on enter. Sorry, here we got some error. Node file name. Okay, not object name. I was entering object name. That is the reason I got error. I have to enter the file name. So remove property. Now here entire object printed. Now if you want to remove any specific property, remove property. Then we have to use a syntax called, here we have to use something called delete space your object name. In our case, it is the obj dot your property name, which property you want to delete. For example, I want to delete city property. So you have to mention the key of that property. That's it. Again, if I do console.log, after deleting a property, let's see what it will print. Now see, first time whenever we are doing console.log, it is printing 3 properties. After deleting the property, again, we are doing the console.log. In that case, it removed that city property. We have only 2 properties, name and gender. Okay, now can you guys tell me what is delete here? What is delete? What do we call to this delete? So what is that delete? This is object name, right? This is the object name. This is the property key name. What is this delete? Yes, delete is a operator. Okay, it's a operator. If someone asks you what is delete, delete object name and dot key. Okay, so here in this case, what is delete means? Delete is a special operator in JavaScript. So it is an operator. So we are going to call this as an operator. Okay, it is a special operator in JavaScript. We have so many special operators in JavaScript, guys. We have so many special operators. How? Plus, minus, okay, multiplication, division, okay, modulus. How all these are operators? All this we call as a arithmetic operators, right? In the same way, there are some special operators in JavaScript. Special operators in JavaScript. Now, what are those special operators means? Let me list out some of the special operators. We have the operator like type of. You have seen the type of, right? Type of is one of the special operator. We have something called await. Okay, we have something called new. We have something called off. We have something called in. We have something called delete. Okay, now all these are some special operators in JavaScript. Some of the special operators in JavaScript. So in all these special operators, as of now, we know only 2 operators, right? We know type of, right? We know type of and we know delete. And slowly, as we progress in JavaScript, we are going to understand the different operators. We will encounter all these operators as we progress in the JavaScript sessions. Okay. Is it clear, guys? If someone asks you what is delete, then you have to tell delete is a special operator in JavaScript. Okay. So type of is not a function, it is a special operator. It comes under special operator in JavaScript. Okay. Cool. Now tell me, now let's suppose I'm adding one property here like this name. Let's suppose I'm just giving some name for my key. Let's suppose this is the key name of a property. And colon, here I need to add some value. Okay, let's suppose I need to add here some value. Now tell me, if you want to add value, then that value should be of which data type? If you want to add any value, okay, to your property, then that value should be of which data type? Value should be number data type, or value should be like this, some string data type, or value should be something like Boolean data type. So what do you think? The value should be of which data type? Yes, value can be of any data type. Okay, value can be of any data type. For certain property, value can be number type. For some property, value can be string type. For some property, value can be Boolean type. For some property, value can be null type or undefined type. In the same way, for some property, value can be one more object. Value can be one more object. It means object inside the object. Object inside the object. So here I will just take the key name as address. That makes more sense. It means there is one property called address, and the value of this property is one more object. And in that object, I can have some more set of properties. Like I can have city, okay, something like Mumbai. Then I can have one more property called state, something called Maharashtra. So here the point what we need to understand, for certain properties, value can be one more object. Value can be one more object. Okay, so let's see how to create nested objects. How to create nested object. Nested object means object inside object. Object inside object. Okay, so let's try that. So here I'm just creating a new file, something called nested object. So let's suppose I am creating here one object, something called user. Okay, so my object name is, let's assume, user. In this, I have a property like name, maybe something here, something like Ria Verma. I can have one more property called ID, whose value can be number. I can have one more property called is placed, value can be Boolean. Okay, now here I am storing some information related to certain user, where I have stored the information like name, ID, and placement status, whether she got placed in certain company or not. So I'm just maintaining that information in the form of true or false. So let's suppose I have one more property called address, and the value of this address is one more object. Now this is called nested object, object inside object. Now inside this nested object, I can have some set of properties. Like I can have a city property, maybe something like Pune. I can have state, something like Maharashtra. I can have some pin code here. Okay, some number like this. Okay, I can have one more property whose value can be one more object. Like this, I can have one more, like area 1, whose value can be something like FC Road. I can have one more, area 2, whose value can be something like Hinjewadi. I can have something like area 3, whose value can be something like Kharadi. Okay, these are some of the area names in Pune. If someone is from Pune, then they can relate. So area 1, area 2, area 3. Now, in your real time, you will not encounter like this simple object. You will not encounter any simple object like this. You will never encounter like this simple object. You will always encounter like this complex objects. Now, this is called complex object. Object inside one more object. Okay, so like this, you will get the data from database. If you are creating a React application or Angular application, then Spring Boot or Node.js will send like this data to you. Now Spring Boot will say, okay, React, you take this data. Now what React will do? React will create some user interface. Like React will create one table, or React will create one card kind of UI, or React will create one list kind of UI. And in that UI, it will display all the data. It will display all the data. So when it comes to your real time, so whenever you are developing any web application, guys, in your real time, whenever you are developing web application, internally, this web application is divided into three main applications. Your one web application is divided into three main applications. First one is front-end application, which we call as a client-side application. Next one is server-side application, which you can call as a back-end application, and you will have the database. These are the minimum applications which are divided to create one entire web application. Now, if you combine or if you integrate these three applications, if you integrate or if you combine these three applications, then it will create one entire web application. Then it will create one entire web application. Once you integrate all these three applications, this is called front end, this is called back end, this is called your database. So if you want to create front end application, then we require some technologies. To create front end application. And the purpose of this front end application is to create user interface. The purpose of creating this front end application is to create user interface. The purpose of creating backend application or server side application is to implement business logic, to do business operation. Whatever operations you want to perform in your application, to perform those operations, you have to write some code. That code we are going to call as a business logic. Now, to create this server side application, again, we required some technologies. We required some programming languages. We required some frameworks. We required some libraries. Example, your Spring Boot, your ASP.NET, your Node.js. So all these are used to create backend application. So here, let me just write some example, Node.js, and I will add here Spring Boot. Okay, I'm just adding two technologies. In the same way, if you want to create this front-end application, here also we required something like React. Here we required Angular, or you can use plain HTML, CSS, JavaScript to create this front-end application. Backend application, you require technology like Node.js, Spring Boot. And when it comes to database, you can maintain the databases like Oracle. You can use MongoDB. You can use MySQL. You can use SQL Server. Okay, these are the different databases which you can use. To develop an entire web application, we have to develop these three applications. Now, whatever data we are storing here, right? So actually this data will be stored in your backend. So this entire data, whatever we are creating here, so like this data, we are going to store inside the backend, nothing but inside the database we will store. Inside your database, you will have the data. Again, inside the database, data will be stored in different format. When it comes to MongoDB, data will be stored in this way. Data will be stored in this object format. When it comes to database like Oracle, MySQL, SQL Server, this entire data will be stored in the form of tables. It will be stored in the form of tables. There we will create rows and columns and we will store the data. In MongoDB, you will store the data in this object format. Now, in this front-end application, in this React, using Angular, using HTML, CSS, JavaScript, we will create some user interface. User interface means it can be like table. You can create like this table, or you can create some card like this. Some user interface you will create. Now, your data is in the database. Your table is in the front-end application. Now, this data, whatever data you have here, this entire data we have to display here. We have to display here. It means somehow we have to bring the data of database from database to front-end application. Now this front-end application doesn't have capabilities, or this front-end application technologies doesn't have that power or that capabilities to interact with database directly. Directly, your front-end application cannot interact with your database. So this is where your backend technologies comes into picture. Now backend technologies are like intermediate. They will play the intermediate role. Now this front-end people will ask this backend, hello Node.js, I want this user information. So what Node.js will tell, okay, just wait. This Node.js will connect with the database and it will ask to the database, I want that user information. Database will say, okay, here I have that information, take it from here. Now what Node.js will do, it will take that data from the MongoDB, and that data it will give to the React or Angular. Now once the data is with React or Angular, what React and Angular will do, they will create one table, and in that table they will display all the data. They will display all the data. Same case with the Spring Boot also. So if you want some data from the Oracle database, this React will ask to the Spring Boot, hello Spring Boot, I want certain data. I want you to perform some operation and give me the data. What Spring Boot will do, okay, you want that data, okay, let me do some operation in my application. It will do some work. It will connect with the Oracle database. Whatever data front-end is asking, it will take that data from Oracle database and it will give that data to the front-end application, nothing but to React. Now what React will do, it will create one table or something like this card, and it will display that data. If you are able to do all these things by your own, if you are able to manage database, if you are able to create business logic, if you are able to create user interface, then you are called full stack developer. You are called full stack developer. If you are able to create this backend with Spring Boot, then you are called Java full stack developer. If you are able to create this backend with Node.js, and if you are able to maintain MongoDB, then you are called UI full stack developer, or you are called MERN stack developer or mean stack developer. If you are able to create this backend with your .NET, nothing but ASP.NET, then you are called .NET full stack. Same thing with the Python. I hope you guys got the idea, right? What is full stack? What is backend? So why do we required to learn these concepts? Got pretty good idea? Like, are you able to connect now your doubts? Yeah, when it comes to mobile applications, only this part will change, guys. Only this part will change. Okay, here we are creating the front-end application using React, Angular. Instead of that, you will create the front-end application using your mobile frameworks. Like you will use something called React Native, or you might use Flutter or Kotlin. Okay, you have Ionic. So like this, we have different frameworks using which we will create front-end, nothing but UI. Now this UI we will create based on mobile devices. So to create UI based on mobile devices, we require to learn these frameworks. Okay, backend will be same, guys. Backend will be same. We can use same backend. So backend will not change. Only front end will change. And the best part of React is, using React, you can create web applications. Using React Native, you can create mobile applications. And the 60% of concepts, of React and React Native are same. 60% concepts are same. 60% concepts are same in React and React Native. Only 14% you have to update. Suppose you are learning React, you learned React. It means you know 60% of React Native. You have to just learn 40%. And if you learn that 40%, then you will be able to develop web application also, you will be able to develop mobile applications also. And you will have great demand in the market, because there are a lot of companies who wants to develop the web application, and similar to web application, they want to develop mobile application also. Now, if they are using React.js to create user interface in this application, then 95% they will use React Native to create mobile application. They will use React Native to create mobile application. This is the most demanded mobile application framework in the market as of now. After React Native, you have Flutter. And the benefit of React Native and Flutter is you can develop iOS apps, you can develop Android apps also. You can develop both types of apps. Now, no need to use two different technologies to create mobile iOS apps and Android apps. If you use Kotlin, you can develop only mobile, this Android apps. You can develop only apps for your Android phones. If you want to develop apps for your iOS mobiles, iPhone mobiles, then you have to learn new language, that is Shift or Shift UI. There is something called Shift UI. These new languages you have to learn. You have to learn Kotlin also to target audience, Android audience and iOS audience. But if you go for React Native and Flutter, then you can develop app in such a way that it will work on both the platforms. You have to just do small configuration. Okay. Yeah. Now, let's assume that here like this, we have to maintain the data. So your object can contain simple objects like this. You can have a simple object like this, or you can have a complex object like this. Suppose I want to access this Pune. I want to print Pune in my console. Okay, in this console.log, I want to print Pune. Now, how to access this Pune means, for that, what we need to do, we have to say user.address.ct. We have to use syntax like this, user.address.ct. We have to come in this hierarchy. This is our main object. In this object, we have address direct property. In address, we have ct. So user.address.ct. Now, if I try to run this file, node nested object. Now see, I got Pune. I got Pune. Suppose I want to access this FC road. I want to access FC road. In that case, what you will do? Can you guys tell me, if I want to access FC road, then how to access FC road? How to print FC road? Yes. If I want to access this FC road, what I need to do? Anybody can guess what code I need to write to access this FC road? Yes. In that case, I need to say user.address. Inside the address, inside this address, we have area. So dot area dot, then we have here area 1. We have to do area 1. Okay, this is how we have to access the data. So do you think it is difficult to access data from complex object? Do you find any difficulties in accessing the data from complex object? Now, this is how the complex objects will be. That's it. Now, see here, we are able to access FC road and Pune. Okay. So in our JavaScript only, I will show you the example. I will show you the example of this entire full stack application. We will develop one CRUD operation, okay, using this entire full stack. So I will not show you how to develop backend and this database, because you might not understand because you don't know those technologies, how to develop it. So I will just pre-develop it. I will develop this application and come. I will just explain how they works. We will develop this front end. This front end part, we will develop with this HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And I will show you how our front end application can be integrated with back end application. If you know how to integrate with one technology, then you can integrate with any technology. Like if you know how to integrate React and Node.js, then you can integrate yourself React with Spring Boot also. You can integrate React with Django also. You can integrate React with your ASP.NET MVC also. You should know how to integrate your front-end application with back-end application with one technology. If you know with one technology, you can integrate with any other technologies because it will be the same process. There is no change, same process. So while learning React, I will show you how to integrate your React with Node.js. I will show you how to integrate React with Spring Boot also. Okay. And when I show this both the example, you will not find any difference. You will not find any difference. Both are same. There is nothing difference. Okay. So here we are going to learn JavaScript in very depth, guys. Okay. So it will take time. We will take time. It's okay. Even if it takes 1 month, it's okay. But let's learn JavaScript in depth in such a way that if you go for any interviews for your JavaScript, then you should not get rejected. And you should not feel that I should join any other course to learn JavaScript. So we don't want all those. We will be learning JavaScript in complete depth here. Okay. So I hope you guys understood how to create simple objects and complex objects. Is it clear for everyone? How to create simple object and complex object. Complex object means it is just the nested objects. It is just the nested object. Object inside object. We can have any number of nested objects. Now here we have two nested objects, right? Inside, this is our main object. It starts here. Then we have this. This is the second nested object, or I can say first nested object. Then here we have one more object. Like this, you can have any number of combinations. Like again in area 3, I can have one more object. I can have one more object like this. Now here I can say sector 1. Here I will just add something. Sector 1, something like Raju Ganj. So I can have one more property here. Sector 2. Okay. So like this, we can have any number of nested objects and it can be with any property. It's not like it should be in this sequence only. I can have here one more property. Okay. Something like I'm just adding data. Okay. I can have one more object here like this. So it can be of any combination. Okay. Now if you want to update the data, let's suppose I want to update the city to Mumbai. I want to update the city to Mumbai. Again, the same concept. Same concept. If you want to update city, simply you have to say user.address.city equals to your new data like Mumbai. That's it. If you want to delete, simply we will use delete space user.address.city. If you want to add new data, new property, again same thing. User.address. Here you just add new property. Okay, maybe something like I will say area name. Just add some area name here, some dummy area name. So this is for modifying. This is for deleting. This is for inserting. and this is for accessing. Same process, just we have to follow that hierarchy. We have to just follow that hierarchy. Okay. And one more thing what we have to understand is we can configure a function. We can configure a function in the object. It means now you can add one function as a value to object properties. We can add a function as a value to object property. We can add a function as a value. You can add a function also as a value to an object property. So what is the meaning of that? Here, let me just create function.js. I can have one object here. Now, in this object, I can have a property. And I can have one more property, and whose value can be one anonymous function. Whose value can be one anonymous function, like this. So inside your object, if you are adding a function to any property, then it should be anonymous. You should not add a normal function. Like this, you should not add normal function. We have to add anonymous function. Now inside this function, you can write whatever logic you want to write. I can say var x equals to 100. I can say var y equals to 200. In the console.log, I can say x plus y. I can write whatever logic I want to write inside this anonymous function. So if you want to call this function, because function can be executed only if they called. So in that case, what we need to do, simply we have to say object.fn. We have to use this key name, and this key name we have to call like this. Object.fn. So if you call object.fn, then this function will be called. Now let me just execute it. Here, if I say node function, because our file name is function. Now see, I got here 300. So here 100 plus 200, 300. If I make it 10 plus 200, it should print 210. It is printing 210. So the point what I wanted to explain you here is, as a value to any property, you can add any type of data. You can add any type of data. As a value to any object property, we can add any type of data. You can add string, you can add number, you can add one object, you can add boolean, and you can add one function also like this. We can add one function also like this. Okay. Is it clear, guys, up to here? Anyone have any doubts up to here? Are you guys understanding? So as a value, we can add normal number type of data. We can add string type of data. We can add object. Okay, we can add object, and we can add one function also. We can add one function also. Okay, very important. Very important. In future, if you want to integrate your HTML and JavaScript, then we should be very good with this object concept. In future, if you want to integrate your HTML and JavaScript, then you should know object concept. If you don't know object concept, you will not be able to integrate HTML and JavaScript. You will not understand how to integrate HTML and JavaScript. Basically, you will not understand DOM concept. DOM manipulation, that concept you will not understand if you don't understand this object concept. So that is the reason I'm going a little bit slow, and I'm just trying to make that you guys understood the object concept, whatever I have taught till now. Is it clear for everyone, object concept? Okay, how to print the object? Just do console.log, that's it. Console.log of, you just add your object name. It will print your object. Now see, entire object is printed. Okay. Where is FB? There is no FB, right? FN, you mean to say FN? Yeah, this is just key name. Just key name. You can use whatever you want. You can use whatever you want. It is just a key name. You can use FN add also. Like how this is ID, how this is a brand, how they are keys like this. This is a FN is just a key, random key I have taken. Okay. Yeah. Now we have to learn one more data structure, and that one more data structure is array. Array in JavaScript. What is the use of array? Using array also, we can add multiple information in one variable. Using array also, we can store multiple information in one variable. How object is used to store multiple information in one variable? In the same way, array also used to store multiple information in one variable. Okay. So in the same way, how object can be created using two ways. There are two ways to create object. One is using object literal. Second way is using object constructor. In the same way, array also we can create using two ways. Using literals, array literal, and array constructor. Array constructor. These are the two ways to create arrays in JavaScript. Okay. Using array literal, how we will create the array means it's very easy. Just create one variable and simply assign square bracket. If you assign square bracket, then this is your array. So this we are going to call as an array. This array we are storing in one variable. If you want to create array using your array constructor, here also first create one variable. And use array constructor. Just we have to create one array constructor. Now we don't know array constructor, we don't know the constructor concept. So we will learn about constructor once we know object-oriented programming. Once we know object-oriented programming, once we explore the constructor concept there, then I will explain you how to create array and object using constructor concept. So now let's focus on array literals, how to create array using this literal notation. So it's very simple. Just create a variable, assign square brackets. Remember square brackets. For object, we will use that curly braces. For array, we will use square brackets. So if I want to create array, so simply create one JavaScript file, create one variable, whatever name you want to give. I'm just giving here the variable name as details. Now to this variable, I want to assign one array. That's it. Now this is called array. Now this is empty array. This is empty array. Okay. Now I can create one more array. Like this, I can create one more array. Now inside this array, we can store the data. You can store any type of data. Remember, you can store any type of data. You can store like this string. You can store like this number. You can store one boolean. You can store one object also. The benefit of array in JavaScript is you can store any type of data. You can store any type of data. In your Java, you can store only similar type of data. In your array, data should be similar type. If you are storing multiple data, then all the data should be of same type in your Java language. But in JavaScript, in your array, your data can be of any type. Certain data can be of string type, some other data can be of number type, some other data can be of object type, another data can be of Boolean type, like this. Here I can add something like city, Hyderabad. Here state, like Telangana. I can have one more string here. Something like here, I can have something like gender. So here also we are storing multiple data. Now whatever data we are storing inside array, those are called elements. Those are called elements. Okay, now this is array. Now inside your array, whatever data you are storing, okay, inside your array, whatever data you are storing, all this data are called elements in the JavaScript. We are going to call as the elements. So now here we can say what is array. If someone asks you what is array, your answer should be array is a data structure. Or you can say, yeah, array is a data structure which stores the data, which stores the any type of data. And those data we are going to call as a elements, all those data we are going to call as a elements. So what is array? Array is also one type of data structure. Data structure means structure in which we are going to store the data, in which we are going to manage the data. And we can store any type of data. It's not like we have to store only similar type of data. You can store any type of data. Okay, and all this data technically we are going to call as the elements. So element 1, element 2, element 3, element 4, element 5. Totally we have 5 elements in this object. Nothing but we have 5 data, or we can say we have 5 information. Okay, now in interviews they will ask what is the data type of array. Okay, very famous interview question. What is the data type of array? So what will be your answer? If someone asks you what is the data type of array in JavaScript, so what will be your answer for this? Yes, data type is object. Okay, a lot of people will give the answer array, but array is wrong answer. You should not say array. We have object. So the data type of your array is object. Array is object. Very famous interview question. And lot of people will give the answer array. In flow, they will give the answer array. So don't ever give the answer array. Okay. Now suppose here, if I want to find the data type, can I do console.log of a type of user details? Because inside this variable, we are storing one array, right? Now if I just try to execute it, node array, Now see, it is printing object. It is printing object. So to a variable, can we assign one function? Can we assign one anonymous function like this? To a variable, can we assign one function? So if we are assigning function to one variable, so can I find out the data type of this variable? Can I find out the data type of this variable? I just wanted to know what type of data I am storing in the variable. So what will be your answer? What do you think? What will be your answer? Okay, so basically it is saying that we are storing function type of value inside this array. Function type of value. But actually the function data type is also object. Remember, function data type is also object. So if someone asks you what is the data type of function, then your answer should be object only. This is what in the official documentation is given by your JavaScript. Though we are getting here answer function, but the data type is object only. Okay, because this is what the JavaScript people have told us. The function data type is also object. So don't ever say function data type is function. So don't use this array and function words. We have totally 8 data types, and in that there is only one non-primitive data type, and that is object. So for array also data type is object. For function also data type is object. Data type is object. Okay. So this is how JavaScript works. So it is basically giving you the function. It is just returning, saying that there is a function we have stored in this variable. That is the reason it is just throwing us the function. But what is the data type of function means? Again, it is an object only. So these are the points which you have to remember. Okay, now this is how the JavaScript works. So this is what they have given the in official documentation. So we have to follow their instructions. The people who created JavaScript themselves, they told array and function data type is object. So always give the answer as an object only. Yeah. Now, how we are able to perform the operation on object? In the same way, we can perform some operations on array also. We can perform some operations on array. Now, to perform operations on array, array is providing us some set of predefined functions. Array is providing us some set of predefined functions. Array is providing us some set of predefined functions to perform some operation on the data, or I can say on the array. So array is providing us some set of predefined functions to perform some operations. What kind of operations you can perform on array? You can add new data. You can remove existing data. You can modify existing data. You can access existing data. You can filter the data. You can manipulate the data. Manipulate entire array also. So like this, we can perform so many operations on array. And to perform so many operations on array, array is providing us some predefined functions. So how many predefined functions it is providing means nearly 30 plus. 30 plus predefined functions we have on array. And every function will do some kind of operation. It will help us to do some kind of operation. So I will explain nearly 10 functions. And remaining functions you have to learn by yourself. Now, if I start explaining each and every function, array concept, it will take 1 week. So here we have to understand the concept. Now remaining things, you can just go through the documentation and you can learn which function is used for what purpose. I will show you the place where you will find all those predefined functions. How to learn, that is also I will show you. So I will explain first 10 functions. If you understand first 10 functions, then remaining functions you can learn by yourself. No need to depend on anyone. Okay. So this is how we are going to explore arrays in detail in tomorrow's session. So what is array? I have explained. How to create array? I have explained. What is the data type of array? I have explained. And I have just introduced there are so many predefined functions using which we can perform some operations on array. Now, what are those predefined functions? Which function is used for what purpose? That we will see in tomorrow's session. So that you will learn about arrays in depth in tomorrow's session. Once you know about array, similar concept we have string. Very similar to array, we have concept called string. So you can create like this string, right? Now on this string, we can perform so many operations. Operations like you can modify certain character, you can access certain part of character, you can delete certain character, you can access specific character. Like this, we can perform so many operations on this string. Now to perform so many operations on this string, again JavaScript is providing us some predefined functions. And those predefined functions are very similar to array functions. Once you understand array functions, then just by seeing these string functions, you will be able to understand how that functions are working. So first we will work on array, then in future sessions, we will work on string as well. So once you understand array, understanding string will be very, very, very easy. So let's see how we can perform all these operations on array in tomorrow's session. Okay, so now one assignment I want to give, you need to find out the answer. What is index in the array? You have to find the answer for this. What is index in the array? Why index will start only from 0? So you have to little bit do research to find the answers. Why index will start only from 0? What is index in array? First try to find out what is index in array. Once you understand what is index, then try to find out why index will start only from 0. So these are the two questions I am just giving you as an assignment. Just explore your Google and find out the answer. Now this answer for this question is little bit related to your this one, memory. It is little bit related to your memories. Okay, little bit you have to understand about memory. So once you start exploring it, once you start reading the articles, you will learn so many things. I'm pretty sure just by exploring the answers for these two questions, by just exploring the answers for these two questions, you will learn so many things. You will learn so many things. Just go and explore it. Just go and explore it. Okay, so remaining things we will discuss in tomorrow's session, guys. One more thing, guys. I have here one feedback form. So feel free to fill this feedback form. So I just want the feedback from you guys. If you want to give some suggestions from your end, something if you want, or certain topic should get covered, then please add all those things in this feedback form. I have given the curriculum, just go through the curriculum. And if you think that certain topics should get added in your curriculum, just add all those topics. So at the end of our JavaScript, if I find time, then I will cover those topics. If I find that certain topics are very important, then I will cover those topics as well. Yeah. So here I am giving you guys everything once again. So you will find here playlist for your HTML, CSS, JavaScript, notes, WhatsApp group, community. Okay, everything you will find here. So just save all these links. Okay, let me add in the notepad as well. Yeah, I will add in the Git repository also, guys. Okay. So I will do one thing here. I will just create one text file. Okay, course details .txt. I will add all those links here. I will push this code. So in this course details, you will be able to find out, okay, all the links, so that it will be with you guys. Yeah, guys, in React, I won't teach JS. Why to waste the time in learning JS in React sessions? Okay. So in React, we will learn only React, not JS.